Speaking English is easy. Yeah, you heard that right. If you've struggled with it up until now, it's because you have trained your brain wrong. I've taught hundreds of young students, adults, and everywhere in between how to speak English. That's why I think speaking English is simple, but I'm sure you don't agree. You've probably been studying English for years and you can read and you can write okay, but when it comes to speaking, you just can't say what you want to say. Some common reasons I've heard from students are, I can't think in English, I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it, I'm scared of making mistakes. First, let me say that all of these reasons, and whatever reason you have thought of, are perfectly natural. They're actual reasons that prevent people from speaking English, but they can easily be overcome, allowing you to speak English naturally and fluidly. In this video, I'm going to give you 5 methods that you can use to overcome any speaking problem you have, no matter what it is. However, you should know the one honest truth. These methods are not easy. They require time and practice. Because how can you expect to become a good English speaker without putting in the time and effort that it takes to become one? The first problem that most English learners have is not being able to say exactly what you want to say. In your native language, you can say anything you want because you have the grammar, vocabulary, and practical experience to do so. You've probably studied English for many years, many hours, and have lots of vocabulary and grammar knowledge, but you still struggle to say what you want to say. Why do you think that is? The answer is simple. You're trying to say too much all at one time. The sentences you can say in your native language are super long, complex, and full of detail. You try to do that in English because you're confident that you have the grammar and vocabulary knowledge to do so. However, you're ignoring your base sentences. You're trying to cut corners and go straight to complex sentences without having mastered short sentences. The answer? Slow down and simplify your English. So let's imagine you have a baby and you're trying to teach them to walk. Then suddenly you say, I'm going to run across the room. The baby fails. The baby can't even walk yet, but you're trying to get them to run. It simply won't work. That's what you're trying to do in English. You're trying to run by making complex sentences before you have even properly learned how to walk by using simple SVO sentences. So here's what you need to do. Think about what you want to say, and then chop it up in its most basic sentences. Instead of a long sentence with 3 clauses, turn it into 3 simple sentences. I know what you're thinking. This isn't how native speakers speak. And you're right. But the truth is that you are not a native speaker, so you can't expect to talk like that, at least right away. And if you're worried about details or sounding unnatural, don't be. Over time, you will naturally start applying your higher level vocabulary and grammar. But you must take small steps first and work on communicating your point as simply as possible before trying to use bigger complex sentences. After you have learned to speak in simple sentences, it's time to work on probably the most sought after skill for English learners: how to think in English. A lot of people think that thinking in English is hard, but in reality, it's not. The reason people struggle with it is because they again try to run before they walk. They try to think of huge, long sentences and complex ideas and fail. They feel tired and frustrated. Then this makes them assume that it's too hard, and then they come to YouTube searching for the secret key that will suddenly help them think in English. Well, that key doesn't exist. You're not going to watch a video and then suddenly be able to think anything you want in English. Thinking in English is a skill, so it needs to be built up through repetition and constant use. But wait, if you can't think in English, how are you supposed to use and build up this skill? Easy. Start small. You need to start thinking in 1 or 2 words at a time. But don't worry, you won't be stuck thinking single words for very long. Start with your daily activities. As you see household items, think about their names in English and think about using them in simple sentences. For example, coffee pot. It makes coffee. I promise if you start and exercise this skill, you'll be thinking naturally in English in a matter of days or weeks. After you started to think in English, it's time to start increasing the frequency that you speak English. For some people who live in an English-speaking country or who have English-speaking friends, this might be an easy step. But if you don't have those opportunities, don't worry. I'm going to show you how you can increase your own speaking opportunities at home. You can always look for online conversation partners or take English speaking lessons, but there are actually 2 ways that I like teaching that are low pressure and you can do at home without a conversation partner. The first method is to talk to yourself. Yes, it might seem silly, but as you do things at home, talk about what you're doing. I'm making coffee. I'm going to watch TV. Don't just think these things, actually say them to yourself out loud. You can even record yourself to check pronunciation and fluidity if you would like. The second method is to use AI. Now, there are AI apps that you can pay for to use their AI speaking buddy feature, but you can also do this at home for free using ChatGPT. You can talk to ChatGPT with your voice and it will respond with audio as well. So you can practice having conversations without the fear of messing up in front of another English speaker. After learning and practicing the other methods, it's time to start expanding your English skills and increasing the things that you can say. By now, you should be using small, grammatically correct, and fluid sentences. If you're still struggling with those, then this step is not for you yet. Come back to this when you are comfortable using those short sentences. However, if you're ready to move on, it's time to start learning to use more complex sentences by learning syntax. Up until now, you've learned grammar and phrases. You understand why nouns or noun phrases come after verbs. You've been trying to use these rules to create your own sentences from scratch. However, that is incredibly hard and not very effective for fast, fluid conversation. It's okay for writing where you have more time to think and construct your sentences, but for speaking, which is much faster, it's incredibly inefficient. To speed up your ability to speak fluid, complex sentences, you need to learn syntax. Now, syntax are common structures that native speakers use to communicate. They're similar to phrases. These syntax come very naturally to us, and it's thanks to these that we are able to speak so quickly because we already have the framework for what we want to say. We just have to add in our own nouns, adjectives, verbs, etc. And a good place to start with this is learning syntax using the PDF in the description below. It introduces 50 of the most used syntax, their meaning, and a small description of their usage with an example. Finally, we're on to our last method. If you've ever written something or said something just to wonder if what you said is correct or sounds natural, then this tip is for you. As you practice and improve, it's very, very important to get feedback, ideally from a native speaker who is qualified to teach English. Now, there are a few ways to do this. If you have English-speaking friends or coworkers, you can ask them. Don't be afraid to ask. It's very easy for native speakers to recognize non-native speakers, and we don't judge you for making mistakes, and most people would be more than happy to answer any questions you have. Now, if you don't have English-speaking friends, you have a few options. First, you can join a community. There are many English learning communities on Reddit. I'm a part of Learn English and Learn English Online. So if you join those, I might be the one to offer you feedback, but there are tons of native speakers and like-minded English learners who can also offer their advice. Another community option is to find an English learning Discord server. In these servers, you find language partners, join speaking groups, or just get feedback on your English. Both Reddit and Discord are a great option for getting feedback for free. However, you're not guaranteed to get a native speaker's, or better yet, a native speaking teacher's feedback. This means the quality of the feedback is going to vary greatly. The paid option to guarantee professional level feedback is to find a teacher to have lessons with or one who provides speaking and writing feedback options. No matter which option you choose, know that there is definitely a way for you to get feedback on your English, and you should 100% be doing this if you're serious about improving. To speak English confidently and fluently, use simple sentences first. Walk before you run. Think in English using one word and simple thoughts daily. Speak often. Narrate your life or use AI to practice. Learn syntax to form natural, fast sentences. And then finally, get feedback Improve with guidance, not guessing. If you found this video helpful, do me one favor, like, subscribe, comment which method you're trying first, and share this with a friend who better wants to learn English. Thanks for watching, and remember, fluent English is closer than you think. You just have to take the first step.